For the ones who don't know me, my name is Antonio Reyes, and I get to be the campus pastor in this community and lead this community here in the English side and the Spanish later on. I get to do both, and that just means chaos in my brain right now, so I can speak both languages. But hey, listen, for the ones who come to this home often, I miss you. I miss you. 2 weeks, too long. I didn't see you, didn't see your beautiful faces. It's good to be back. You know, 2 weekends ago, we were with my wife in LA, and then last Sunday we were in Osaka. I was speaking over there, and now I'm here. I'm back here, and I miss all of you, and so excited to be able to continue this conversation that we started on the letter to the Philippians. Now, for the ones who might think they're just jumping into this conversation, we've been having a conversation about what is happening in our culture. If you ask me, there's so many things happening in our culture, so chaos, injustices, you know, there's just so many pieces that are happening that are causing unsettlement in our souls, that are moving us towards fear, anxiety. And I just want us to be aware this morning that we have a God that cares for that is aware of that, and that we do not have to allow what happens in the outside to determine what we feel in the inside. Many times we allow the outside to rob us from the joy that we have in Jesus. And today I just want to encourage you that it doesn't matter what happened outside, that we can name it, we can point at it, but that does not have to determine how we feel in our souls and in our minds. Does that make sense, family? This morning, I want to go back to Philippians chapter 1, verse 12. If you have your Bibles, you can go with me to chapter 1. If not, we're going to have it here on the screen. But before we jump into this, it's important for us to understand what's happening. You know, Paul is in prison writing this letter. And you might ask, but what did he do? What happened with Paul that he has to be in prison? Great question. What ended up happening is that as he was speaking the good news to Jesus, he was bringing people that were considered non-Jewish to the temple, meaning they were known as Gentiles. He was bringing Gentiles to the temple, and the Jewish community got so offended about what he was doing that they got upset, and they actually called the Roman Empire, and they actually charged him against his own people. So he's not there because he did something wrong. He was trying to include others into the message of Jesus. That's why he is there. And surprisingly, the tone of the letter is very encouraging. It's very joyful. It doesn't matter that he's suffering all of these things. I want to show you this prison in Mamertine. I believe that's how you pronounce it. I don't have it. We have the picture, but we have this place, Mamertine. It's a place where it was considered possibly the place where Paul was in prison. Mamertine is a place where it's a prison where they will hold all of these people. And it's interesting. Prisons and the Roman Empire in the first century, there were no joke, friends. There were no joke. It was one of the prison's nickname. It was considered the house of darkness. The house of darkness. Usually the people in that place, they have a lot of people in one place. You have no privacy whatsoever. They will have very short chains. So if you wanted to scratch probably in one part, you couldn't scratch. Also, most of the people in the prison didn't have food. So the only way you can get fed is if families or people would take food to you. If not, you will probably die. So I want us to understand the context of where he is writing this letter from. Because sometimes we tend to dismiss where they're coming from and what is the context where Paul is read. So let's read this moment. Is that okay? Philippians chapter 1, verse 12. And I want you to know, my dear brothers and sisters, that everything that happened to me here has helped spread the good news. For everyone here, including the whole palace guard, know that I am in chains because of Christ. And because of my imprisonment, most of the believers here have gained confidence and boldly speak God's message without fear. It is true that some are preaching out of jealousy and rivalry, but others preach about Christ with pure motives. They preach because they love me, for they know I have been appointed to defend the good news. Those others do not have pure motives as they preach about Christ. They preach with selfish ambition, not sincerely, intend to make my change more painful to me. But that doesn't matter. Whether their motives are false or genuine, the message about Christ is being preached either way. So I rejoice, and I will continue to rejoice. For I know that as you pray for me and the Spirit of Jesus Christ helps me, this will lead me to my deliverance. As we have this conversation, I want you to have it in the back of your mind. This fancy word called cognitive reframing. Cognitive reframing. This is a fancy word that is used, and this practice is used to help people with anxiety and depression to see the reality with a new set of eyes. With a new set of eyes. Let's pray. God, thank you so much for allowing us to be here this morning. I pray for every soul and every person in this space, God, that you speak to us, that you move us closer to you. We know that perfect love casts out all fear, God. That we don't live in fear and anxiety and depression because that is not from you. That is part of our human experience, but may your love can overwhelm our souls this morning and speak to our souls. We ask you this in your beautiful name, Jesus. And everybody says? Amen. And everybody says? Amen. I need to tell you something, friends. I don't like flying. I don't like flying. No. I dislike flying. No, that is not the right word. I hate flying. That's what it is. I hate flying so much that I'm the type of person that you do not want to be next to me when I'm flying. Like I'm so anxious when I'm flying that you don't understand how I feel when I'm flying. And please do me a favor. Do not come and tell me, Pastor, you're more safe driving than flying. Nah. Don't save your data, save your statistics, save anything you want to tell me. Trust me, I have tried. I have Googled this thing. I have ChatGPT this thing. Like I have done my best to speak to my soul that I should be safe in a plane. I remember even my friend sent me some or give me some of his anxiety medicine. And he told me, hey, this little pill, just drink half of the pill because it's way too strong. And have someone take care of you as you're flying. I took 1.5 and it barely did something to me. That's how anxious I am in a plane. I just hate it. And so 2 years ago, I got invited to speak in Chile. If you don't know what Chile is at, it's all the way the last country in the continent. Like 12 hours straight flying from LA to Chile, Santiago de Chile. It was crazy. So I got invited to speak over there. And for whatever reason, I decided to say yes on the moment. The day before I was flying, I was dying, friends. I was anxious. I was afraid. I was about to cancel the trip. And I was like, I can't do this. I cannot fly for 12 hours. My son he's born. He has like 2-3 months. And I'm like, I need to take my wife with me. I'm going to start looking for tickets. You have to come with me, babe. You're the only one who keeps me down right now. So I was trying to find tickets for her to come with me. And so you have me in the car almost crying, and I was about to give up the trip because I didn't want to fly for 12 hours all the way to Chile. What am I doing in Chile? I'm fine here. That's my struggle. And so I remember one of the things that actually helped me, like I told you, not statistics, not information or data, and none of those things actually help until I have my son. And then I started having this inner conversation with myself. That what am I going to do when I want to tell my son, do not let any fear to get in the way of the call that God has for you in your life. When I'm not myself trying to conquer my own fears. And then I decided to reframe, to see my situation with a new set of eyes. And that actually helped me, give me strength to actually fly all the way over there and come back all the way over here and still fly other times. I saw my situation, which causes a lot of fear and anxiety, to see it with a new set of eyes. See, many of us, we need to see our situation with a new set of eyes. Some of us are being consumed by what we see at first hand. See, when we read this moment of Paul, Paul is reframing what he sees his imprisonment with a new set of eyes. What we see as a setback with being changed, he actually sees it as an advancement for the good news of Jesus, which is crazy to me. See, because we have this misconception in Western Christianity that we have believed, and we have made other people believe, that the outcome of believing in Jesus should be the lack of adversity, no challenges, comfort, more and more, the lack of struggles, the absence of hardship, friends. And that is not, that is not the fruit, nor the outcome of living in proximity with Jesus. See, this takes me to the life of this man by the name of Job. You know, on Mondays, I get to teach in this seminary Old Testament. And I was teaching this class last Monday, Job. See, when we read the story of Job, if you haven't read it, read it. It's a great story, and it's really going to speak to you. It's complex, but it's going to speak to you. Job, we have this misconception that Job was going through all of this suffering so he can get twice as much at the end. That is just not a good way of interpreting this story. We believe that the reason why he went through all of the pain that he went through so he can get twice as much, like the twice as much is going to remove all the pain that he went through. As he was processing this, Job, with his friends had a way of seeing life, which was, if you do good, God will reward you. But if you do bad, God is going to punish you. But the life of Job crushes this argument, because he was a man that was in right standing with God. That's what the Bible says. The life of Paul crushes this argument as well, that if you do good, you will get rewards from God. And if you do bad, God is going to punish you. This is crushed with the lives of these two men. But then there's a fourth friend in the life of Job that comes by the name of Eliot. Eliot has a more sophisticated conclusion. And he tells Job, the suffering that you're going through, God is using that suffering. See, what I want you to understand about pain and suffering is that God is not going to make us avoid painful situations or unfair situations or hardships. God is not going to do that. But what he's going to do is that he's going to give purpose to our pain and what we go through in life. See, sometimes we feel like God should make us avoid all of these things. If we're with him, we shouldn't go through all of these things. And I understand, friend. God will use your suffering. Notice that even the Roman soldiers, Paul tells us that they know why he's in prison. He's like, they know why I'm here. I'm not here because I have committed a crime. I'm here because I'm speaking about the good news of Jesus. Can I give you a side note? When you do the right thing and when you live in integrity, you don't have to take care of your reputation. God will take care for you. Sometimes we feel that we have to take care of it. If you do the right thing and if you live in integrity, God will take care of your reputation. That's what God does with Paul. See, everything that Paul is going through becomes this example, this demonstration, this tangible representation of what it means to be with Jesus. That his life becomes this megaphone, this avenue, this channel and to communicate the way of Jesus to other people. That God gives purpose to pain. That God gives meaning to what you go through and what you face. Notice that Paul is not dismissing nor ignoring the pain that he's going through. The key in life is not living life like it didn't happen. The key in life is that you acknowledge what you're going through, but that is not going to dictate, nor is going to show in your life that is going to control you in life. See, we need to see our life with a new set of eyes, like Paul is teaching us. You know what's so weird is that something weird happens. I mean, being in prison nowadays and back in the day, it would cause shame. Because it implies that you have moral culpability. But this story shouldn't be inspirational. This story shouldn't be motivational. What type of God does allow the people that love him and that are innocent to go to jail? If you ask me. But see, this moment becomes a moment of honor and advancement for the gospel. That's what Paul is saying. See, you will think that someone that is going through what Paul is going through will move people to fear, right? If you're a believer in Jesus, like, man, this is what's happening with people that believe in Jesus. Like, I do not want to be in proximity to them. But it happens the complete opposite. It encourages people. It becomes a moment of motivation for others. Paul's courage under the hardship emboldens others to speak boldly. What you do matters, friends. Because it's not just about you. It's not just about you. You don't know who's looking at your life. You don't know who's paying attention to your decisions. You don't know who's looking at what you're doing. See, Paul's unwavering faith becomes an encouragement for others to speak boldly about this message. That his suffering becomes a multiplying effect in people's lives to share the good news of Jesus with other people. God will use your pain and your suffering, friends, to impact other people. If we continue reading in verse 15, it's very interesting. Let me read it back again. It is true that some are preaching out of jealousy and rivalry, but others preach about Christ with pure motives. They preach because they love me, for they know that I have been appointed to defend the good news of Jesus. Those others do not have pure motives as they preach about Christ. They preach with selfish ambition, not sincerely, intending to make my change more painful to me. Let's add another layer. Paul is not just in prison. Now he has a whole movement of people that are doing things so that they can cause more pain in Paul's life. Man, talking about pain and going bad to bad. Getting worse and worse. But it's interesting the way Paul responds to this, friends. I wish we all respond like Paul. See, if you're not in the Christian environment and the Christian culture, I completely understand. I'm going to give you some insight into this. See, what happens nowadays is, and it's so horrible, we have thousands of people that make YouTube videos and make observations about other preachers and why are they wrong and why we shouldn't listen to them. And we have become so outspoken and condemning and censoring people, not even for their own motives, just because you don't like their theology. And I understand, friends. I get it. I get the people nowadays identify with Jesus for different reasons. They identify for political reasons. They identify for financial gain. They identify with Jesus because of moralistic values. They don't follow Jesus, but they like the values. Everybody identifies with Jesus for different reasons. I completely understand. But instead of Paul getting irritated about this, he refuses to play this game. He refuses to be petty and to build rivalry and to go back and forth with them. Notice what he does. He says, I'm not going to get caught in this whole thing. Actually, I'm not able to control their motives, but what I know and what I'm going to celebrate is the message of Jesus is getting out. And I'm going to rejoice for that. Talking about seeing with a new set of eyes your situation. See, so many of us want to control every aspect of our lives. We want to control what people feel about us, what people think about us, what people say about us. But friends, that is going to steal your joy, let me tell you. You want to live a life that is miserable? Just weigh on people how they think about what they talk about you. You cannot control that about anyone. How do you keep your joy, friends? knowing that you can control everything. What others do and what others don't do, you cannot control. But what you can do is that you can actually acknowledge that God is still doing something in your life. What Paul is doing, he's saying, their motives are wrong, but what I know is that people are still getting saved. Miracles are still happening. The message of Jesus is getting out. People are living generously. Oh, I'm okay with that. And sometimes we need to remind our own souls and to ourselves when we feel that we cannot control everything around us, to keep our joy, to tell ourselves, God is still in proximity to me. God is not going to waste anything in my life. God is using every aspect to form me and to shape me to who He wants me to be. Even if it feels unfair, God is going to use this to shape and form you to the image that He created you to be, friends. Verse 18 is interesting because he says, it doesn't matter whether motives are false or genuine. The message about Christ is being preached either way. So I rejoice, and I will continue to rejoice. For I know, as you pray for me, and the Spirit of Jesus Christ helps me, this will lead me to my deliverance. Paul does not focus on the motives. He focused on the message. See, notice once again, he's not dismissing the pain that he's going through, all the challenges and the struggle. He's actually naming them, but now they're not moving him nor motivate him into how he's going to wait in jail. See, with Paul, it's not just about him waiting in jail. It's how he waits that matters. It's not just about you waiting. It's how you wait that matters. We see the life of Paul. The maturity, the spiritual maturity that he has. Side note, you and I will know our spiritual maturity by what we allow to steal our joy. What is stealing your joy right now? Feeling offended? What people say or don't say about you? Because you didn't get invited to certain things? Because you're not able to step into your calling right away? Because you're not able to do what you love? Like, what is robbing your joy right now? See, sometimes, friends, the position of our heart is complaining and whining. And friends, you do not want to wait like that. You know why? Because you're going to wear yourself out. You're going to start growing, becoming cynical. Your heart is going to get sick and resentment is going to rise. And you do not want to be that type of person. Joy requires intentionality, friends. And when you find yourselves in a place where cynicism and resentment are rising up, friend, become intentional to pursue joy. See, that is the level of maturity that does not come easy. It does not come easy, friends, if you ask me. You know how I know this is an expression of maturity in Paul's life? Because he's willing to let go of something that he wants. Notice, he uses the word that he's going to get delivered. But the word deliver in this does not mean getting out of jail. Meaning, he's willing to let go of the version of deliverance that he has. That I might not be free physically, but I'm going to be free. That this moment right here is not going to be the end of my life. That there's more for me. Friends, living a life with open hands like that, putting your expectations in the table for God requires a lot of maturity. You know, it's interesting because the other day my son Aslan, which is also my friend, at times when he wants to be my friend. Right now he does not want to be my friend. He's upset at me. He's the only child in the house. You know, he has all his toys. He's obsessed with cars right now. And he has all the cars possible. And he has his cousins. Sometimes we go to the house and he's playing with his cousins. What that means is that he needs to share his toys. Friends, a toddler sharing toys is not as synonymous. It's completely opposite. And I don't know what it's about toddlers that they don't want the toys that the toys that are available for them. They want that other kids have. Have you noticed that? I want the one that they have. I don't want those. And so the other day we were hanging out and he was playing and he has his little cars and we tried to encourage him to share. And then all of a sudden he was playing with his cousin and we were like, hey, share your toys. And he grabs his little toy, he's crying. It's like his little tears right here. I'm like, my heart is breaking, and he's giving his little card. He looks at my wife and he's like, why am I doing this? Why is this so painful? And he gives his little card, he starts crying. But as a dad, I was so proud of my little boy because it meant he was growing. He was willing to be generous and to share with someone even though he was crying. Honestly, friends, I feel that sometimes we need to live life that way with God. We need to open our hands. And even though we might be crying and tearing up, here, I bring you what I have. Because that's a sign of maturity, friends. You do not want to keep something that is going to become rot in your life and it's going to cause pain in your life. You want to let go on time. Because your joy is in the line. I'm going to ask the band to come forward as we close this conversation. See, many of us, friends, we like the idea of spiritual maturity. But what it takes to get there, it requires a lot of pain. It requires a lot of surrender. It requires a lot of sacrifice. See, you might not have the right context in your life today. You might not have you might feel like you are in a place where you don't deserve to be. And for that, friend, I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. But do not allow that to steal your joy. See it with a new set of eyes. I remember years ago, I worked for this organization in Southern California where we used to bring missionaries around the world to come to the United States and raise funds or have a break or go speak if they wanted to a new space. One time we brought this couple from Cuba. Lovely couple. Intelligent couple. Side note, I don't know if you know, but Cuba has one of the best medicine schools in the whole continent. A lot of people from Mexico go to Cuba. Just side note, because when I was talking to them, I felt very ignorant. So intelligent. And I remember we were talking in a room, and they were sharing their experiences being in Cuba and how complicated it was being a Christian in Cuba. And I remember as they were sharing their story, we were sitting in the room and we still feeling bad, you know. That's what you do. You feel bad, like, oh dang, you start feeling ashamed because you're like, oh man, I have all of this and they're going through that and who am I? And you start feeling bad and start feeling ashamed when you hear the story. And I'm never gonna forget what this couple told us. They stopped us. They saw that we were feeling ashamed and afraid and we were feeling like bad about them. And they stopped us in the middle of the conversation and they told us this. Do not worry about us. This is what God has entrusted us. And this is what God entrusted you with. Be faithful with that. I was like, what? Friends, there's going to be moments in life that you might be entrusted with pain that you might feel like you don't deserve. And I'm sorry for that. Paul didn't deserve this. Job didn't deserve this. But this is what he has entrusted you with. I remember after we have our son, my wife and I had a second miscarriage. And it's so crazy because I was supposed to speak, I believe that weekend, on the following weekend at church. And I remember I had the option. I could have called them and say, hey, I just need a break. I don't want to do this. And if I had to, there was no shame in it either. But I remember going through those painful moments when we felt like we named our kid. We were gonna call her Selah. We had the name. We were excited. We were planning, decorating the room. When we got the news, it was very painful. But I remember my own conversations with God. And I just didn't know what to say and how to respond and how to pray. Moments like this really teach you really don't know much. And I remember going to speak the following Sunday. And I knew in my own soul, why would this happen to me? Like, I'm a pastor, I'm a preacher, I'm doing what you call me to do, I'm taking risks, I'm like, I surrender so much, I have let go so much, I have gone through so much so that I can be in proximity with you, Jesus. Why do I have to experience this type of pain? All I can hear, the echo is, this is what I haven't trusted you with. No answer, howsoever, but this is what he has entrusted you with. Friends, moments like this, Paul teaches about joy, rejoicing, and joy. And I don't think that he's coming from a place that everything is going for him, everything is going good for him, he's in Disneyland enjoying life. He understands the pain that he has been entrusted with. This morning, I ask you to stand with me, and I want to pray for you. Maybe you find yourself this morning in a similar situation. Maybe there's a lot of questions that you might have that haven't been answered. Maybe there's some experiences in life, your own upbringing, your own relationship with your family, maybe with relationships with others. You still don't know why you have to go through those things, friend. I'm not here to give you an answer, but I'm here to tell you that you have a God who empathizes with you, who is committed to you, who wants to be with you and not waste any moment in every second of your life. He is not going to waste your pain. Friend, we have a saying in culture, time will heal. No, time can make it worse. God will heal it. Do not leave it up to time. You can still be wounded 30 years later. God will heal it. The Spirit of God will heal it. And maybe you don't have words to express. Maybe you don't know what to say. We have this beautiful song called The Goodness of God. And maybe sometimes we just have to declare that in our own lives, in our own situation, in our own context. God, I'm walking through this, and your goodness will come with me. Can you close your eyes for a moment? And I want to pray for all of us as we close this. If you are in this moment and you're like, man, I just need that relationship with Jesus. I need to give myself to Jesus. I need to be in proximity. I want Him to heal me. I'm tired and I'm exhausted to be in this place, to be bitter, to be resentful. I need to experience the joy of Jesus. Can I ask you for a bold decision? Can you raise your hand with all eyes closed? Can you raise your hand? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All of us together as a community, friend, repeat this with me. Jesus, say it again. Jesus, come into my soul. Forgive my sins. I give you my all. Give me purpose, God. Heal my soul. Heal my life. And lead me getting closer to you. In Jesus' name. God, I ask you for every person in this room, whatever they're feeling, whatever they're going through, God. I'm going to ask the prayer team to come forward here with us. If you need prayer, we have a prayer team available for you. Come, step up. Do not feel that you have to do this life alone. God, pray for every soul. It doesn't matter the context or the situation, God, that you can speak life to them, that you can bring healing to them, God, that you can bring a community that speak life into their souls, God, that their pain, that whatever they're going to do not dictate their decisions and the life that they're going to live, God. We believe in you, and we ask you this in your beautiful name, Jesus.
Thank you for being a part of our online community here at Project Church. We hope that this message and the whole service bless your life.
Yeah, and if it did, we want to ask that you would do something for us. First of all, if you're not already subscribed to our YouTube channel, be sure to subscribe, like this video, but also we would ask that you would consider financially supporting what God is doing through Project Church. You can give in a variety of ways. You can text Project to 97,000 right now. You can give through our Church Center app, or you can give on our website, projectchurch.com/give. Thanks so much for being a part of our online community. And once again, God bless you guys. We'll see you soon.